In this video, I'm going to be showing you my TIE Shrieker build. It's insane. You're going to want to stick around because this is going to be a banger. Let's get into it. Let's go ahead and look at the logistics behind this beast of a TIE fighter. Start off by looking at the cockpit itself, and for that, I'm going to have to take off the wings because they are enormous and it's super hard to move around. But after that, I'll show you guys the wing structure. Okay, so the first look at this, you can see that it has two front turret cannons, which are double blastered, which just, adds to the absolute just monstrosity of what this is. This is enormous. Like, it's not as big as maybe the UCS set that LEGO made of the, I believe, the TIE Interceptor, but it is still, I think it is very large for a TIE fighter. You can see the cockpit. I just reused the cockpit and this top piece from one of the newer TIE fighters, and then I just used a ton of these like quarter dome pieces, which are very useful for making this thing look really sleek. You can see on the back side I did run out of light bluish gray, so I had to resort to dark bluish gray, but I think it still looks pretty good. This is the engine. It does poke out a little farther than most TIE fighters would, but I just think that adds to the uniqueness of it. Plus, I couldn't figure out a better way to make this engine look, really engine-y. I didn't want it to just be a hole in the cab because that would just be kind of boring. I use these extended, I don't know what these are called, but the extended 1x2s and then some different, let me see if I can get this off, hinge plates and then some slopes. And I think it turned out pretty good. The connection point right here, see if I can get it better. Now, this connection point was a lot harder for me because, you have to support, what, a pound of weight probably? Bro, this thing, like, the wings are very heavy, and so trying to balance that with the, just using, I used 4 studs to connect right here, and it was very weak, and you could not even, like, you couldn't even fly it, let alone pick it up. Like, it was barely able to be able to pick up. You were barely even able to pick it up. You can see on the back side it's pretty much the same. I just copied everything off with the support system. But if we turn to the bottom, let's see if the engine will support. There we go. You can see I added this, which wasn't here on the original version. Well, neither were the guns, but I decided to add them because most TIEs do. I just souped them up a bit so they look really fire. Get it? But I use these I use these hinge plates just to add a lot more support, and yes, they are not connected all the way. There is a gap right there, and yes, that technically would be illegal, but it's not technically connected. It's just adding extra support, so it's just basically pulling on those studs when the wings are on, so it keeps it on. It's not the strongest, see, it wiggles, but this is connected into the actual structure of the cockpit itself. Yeah, it wiggles a little bit, but it's pretty strong, and it doesn't wiggle a lot once the wings are on there. Moving on to the inside of the cockpit, yes, I was able to fit an actual minifigure. He's got a very comfy seat, and it's a little tight in there, but I think it turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with how this cockpit turned out. Even though it is a little bit choppy at some spots, it is very sleek in most everywhere. Well, except the choppy parts, obviously. Now, let's take a look at how those wings turned out. And just a warning, they are very fragile. So even though they're made out of bricks, a lot of the hinges don't work super well. But I'll do my best to show you guys without destroying it. So this is the inward backside. So this is the part of the wing that would be facing towards the cockpit. And you can see I've got this knot brick set up, and that connects to the inside 4 studs on the wing support system. And hey, it looks fragile, I bet. How you think, 4 studs is not enough. But it actually, with the surface area that I made up with bricks, it actually holds together, and I guess the friction is strong enough, so that is very nice, and I don't have to over-engineer it more. Right here you can see I've got yes, this does not have a clip, and I wish it did, but because of the leveling, there's not an exact slope amount to make it actually hinge right. And that is a little bit annoying, but it's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to be flying this thing super hard. I'm not throwing it down the stairs or anything. But, hey, it turned out really nice. This is the front part of the wing, which is the front inside, I guess. But it's basically the same as the front outside. They both just have this tile line, which I couldn't get, making it super flat and flush, but it turned out fine. And then I've got this, yeah, again, no hinge because it's just the tile, and because the slopes, I don't have an exact measurement for how long they need. The geometry stuff does not work out. The angles and everything do not work with the distance of a hinge plate, so I had to just resort to just sitting it there basically with one hinge connecting it. This is the outside back of the wing, which is basically the same. It's just got this little, I guess, protrusion thing. I don't know what they are. They're on all TIE fighters, so I decided to add it, and then I just used that printed piece from the TIE fighter that I had, along with several other pieces from this build. But I think it turned out really nice, so now let's assemble it back together, and we'll head to the showcase. So much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked the spaceship, because I might start getting into building more spaceship stuff because it was really fun. Well, that's all for this video though, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.